Thank you for coming tonight, girls. Appreciate it.
We were just discussing how their presence was deemed important by who. They're sitting here kind of like, so good job.
They were both told.
You will not grow an extra leg or turn color, and you can escape in a moment unscathed, and we get to stay.
It's not gonna be
So
live.
You're all good.
Just recorded. It's okay.
Ready? All right, I will call the November meeting of the Board of Education to order. Roll call.
Kathy McGrath.
Here.
John Davin.
Here.
Dana Duncan.
Here.
Carrie Hildebrandt, I am here. Leo Thomasgard.
Yep.
All right, first item is consider approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
The motion and the second, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Next item is report from student representatives, student and staff recognition. You can introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Taylor and I'm a junior. And I'm Brianna and I'm a junior. We've had a pretty busy last couple of weeks over at the high school. On November 11th, we celebrated Veterans Day. We are fortunate enough to have two veterans, Len Engler and Leo Thomasgard, come to John Edwards High School and speak with Mr. Hintz and Mr. Miller's classes throughout the morning. In the afternoon, we met as a school in the gymnasium during Blackhawk. Miss P in her choir class sang the national anthem, and Miss Anderson and the band played a patriotic song. Afterwards, we were able to watch a video of the middle and high school students expressing their gratitude for all veterans. And a special thank you for Miss Beaver for putting the video together, and to Mr. Engler and Mr. Thomasgard for coming to speak with our classes.
With fall sports wrapped up, our winter sports are underway. High school boys and girls and middle school boys all started basketball practice this month, and the middle school boys have already had a few games in so far. High school girls have their first game of the season this Friday, November 22nd, at home against Marion at 5:30. High school boys will play in the Cranberry Classic next week Friday and Saturday at Assumption High School, and will then kick off their season games starting with an away game on Monday, December 2nd at Amherst. Good luck to all winter athletes. Yesterday, our high school math league traveled to UWSP to compete in round 1 of 3 in the Central Wisconsin Math League competition. Good luck to Mrs. Martin, Mrs. Griffith, and the 15 high school students who are competing this school year. Outside of sports and competitions, our high school band and choir are set to have their first performances of the school year. High school band will have their first concert tomorrow night at 6:30 p.m., and high school choir will have their performance on Monday, November 25th at 6:30 p.m. Good luck to Miss P, Miss Anderson, and all performers.
Lastly, members of the High School Student Council will be traveling to UWSP tomorrow for a leadership conference. We are excited to attend our first conference since before COVID, and we're hoping to bring back some fun and exciting new ideas to implement at school. Thank you for listening. We hope you have a great night.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
See, that wasn't so bad.
Busy girls.
All right. And you're free to leave if you would like. So, moving on, President's
Cloud of
report.
dust for the hardy Iowa saber.
Thank you. Board members, all the board members are in attendance. And our next board meeting would be December, did we decide on that?
December 11th.
If that's
December
second.
That's the
11th.
second Wednesday.
Yeah, December 11th for our next board meeting. All right. Moving on to administrative reports. Elementary principal report. Tim.
Good evening, everyone. The Ed Hoyer Elementary School character trait for November is gratitude. Gratitude is discussed each day during morning announcements in our classroom morning meetings, and gratitude will be the central theme during our Blackhawk Families program tomorrow morning. We also have a very nice bulletin board about gratitude, which was put up by our staff also. I would like to point everyone's attention to another display here in the room. Mr. Walter Iwanski stopped by in between meetings today, and he dropped off the Port Edwards Education Foundation display. For those of you in attendance who are not familiar with PEEF, it's an organization that has supported the school district since 1996 through a number of fundraisers and fundraising projects, they have raised over $300,000. And 100% of the proceeds are given back to the teachers for additional programming that the school district wouldn't otherwise fund. So thank you very much to PEEF, and I encourage you to check out the display if you have a moment tonight. Back to news about the elementary school. Elementary parent-teacher conferences were held last Wednesday, November 13th. We had 253 individual student conferences scheduled, 253, and 239 were completed for a 95% attendance rate. So we had outstanding turnout by our families. The Port Edwards Parent Organization has had a busy fall. On Thursday night, November 7th, PEPO hosted the first ever community bingo night here in our gym. It was a collaborative effort between PEPO and our Village Lions Club. The Lions led 7 games of bingo, and PEPO provided snacks and refreshments. Just over $700 was raised by the Lions during the event, and 100% of the proceeds was given to PEPO. So it was a very nice event. Got people from the community here, got them in our doors, they saw our school, they saw what a great community we have here, and a lot of positives from people saying how nice it was to get together, talk, seeing old neighbors, seeing old friends they hadn't seen some of
What
them
kind of
in
attendance?
many years.
What kind of attendance?
We had about 95 people here.
That's great, fantastic.
Yeah, about 95. A second PEPO event we had last Friday morning, November 15th, was the second annual Donuts with Grown-Ups. That took place also in the elementary cafeteria from 6:45 to 7:30. In 45 minutes, about 200 students and their families were served Dunkin' Donuts, and they enjoyed spending time together. And again, many thanks from families and grandparents for having the opportunity to come into school here. We also had the book fair up, and that was another way to get books in the hands of our children. It raised a lot of money for the book fair as well. I would like to say a special shout out to Dolores. Dolores, and forgive me if I'm missing out on any food services staff, but Dolores was here extra bright and early last Friday, opened her kitchen. I'm sure we make big messes all over and we mess up your system, but she allowed us into her cafeteria and into her kitchen. Thank you very much, Dolores, for that. It was a great community event. Staying on the theme of our kitchens, the elementary and high school kitchens had their monthly inspection by Wood County on November 18th. Both inspections were exceptional. I had this note written down, not even knowing you were going to attend, Jenny and Dolores. I want to say thank you and publicly acknowledge you for the great work that you ladies and your team do. We have the best food service anywhere. I've been around, I've been to some schools, best food service anywhere. So thank you for your professionalism, thank you for your service, the great food, everything that you do. So thank you very much. A little bit of other district news. On Wednesday night, November 6th, 3 new members were inducted into the John Edwards High School National Honor Society. Our chapter currently has 7 student members, 2 seniors and 5 juniors. The district calendar committee is holding its first meeting this upcoming Tuesday, November 26th. The calendar committee has 5 elementary teachers and 5 middle high school teachers. The goal of the committee is to create school year calendars for the next 2 upcoming school years to be presented to our board for review and hopefully approval in January is our goal for the next 2 school years. Couple of other items are about the high school. Mr. Steltenpohl may be speaking about. My final item here is I want to mention that Thanksgiving break is coming up for students. That is next Wednesday through Friday. Wednesday the 27th is a scheduled day for our teachers, but it is a virtual work from home record keeping day. Thank you.
Is there any question or suggestion for the calendar committee about trying to collaborate with neighboring districts?
Every year.
Okay, good.
Yeah, we, the calendar I inherited here my first year was not in conjunction with neighboring districts, and I heard about it significantly, and then the following year we got in lockstep with at least spring break and some of the other holidays, and I think we're trying to get closer and
Doesn't have
closer.
to be perfect, but
Right.
there's so many,
Spring break, things like that.
so many of the kids in the district who school choice or the staff members who live in one district and work in another. It's just it doesn't have to be perfect, but it's helpful if there can at least be an attempt made to do that.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, next item, middle school, high school principal report. Okay,
Good evening, guys. So a couple things. Our high school, middle school right now, we're finishing up our first trimester. We will be wrapping that up next week before Thanksgiving break. And we'll start trimester 2 on Monday, December 2nd. So the building's been busy. As you heard from the two young ladies here, those ladies went from a long volleyball season to a drama play. One of them did to a long basketball season. So it was nice that they agreed to come and fill you in on some of the things that are going on. As they stated, we're starting our winter sports season. The gyms are full with high school basketball, middle school basketball for boys, and also we're allowing and inviting our youth programs to come in and use our facilities when they're not being used. A big fan of. We have our facilities and a big fan of anybody can use them. We want to support our youth programs and allow them to. They even reached out and they have 4 cheesehead tournaments that they're going to be hosting this winter. And we kind of talked about it. It used to be separate. We're jumping in. Our concession stand is our concession stand. We're going to allow our youth to run our concession stand and just use our facilities because we have very nice facilities over there. As I said, that ended. Last week was a crazy week. My first year scheduling, putting dates. I had some people not pleased with me about the dates that I put it all in one week. But you know what? As I told them, we're a small village in a small school, and we got to learn that we share everybody, our kids, at the high school. And so last week on Monday, we did have the Veterans Day come in. Leo and Len were able to come in and speak. The next day, we had our holiday meal with Jean Bruner, her daughter Allison, and our ecology club put on. We had a couple school board members there. We had a lot of the Lions were there. The Lions sponsored our turkey dinner that day. So that was amazing that they were able to do that for us. But Jean and her daughter believe in sitting down, having a family style meal and having kids talk to each other. And it was just a great experience. The amount of kids that came up and asking for extra pieces of pie because their families don't do pie at Thanksgiving. It was just a neat thing to see the kids sit down and have that experience. So that was Monday Veterans. Tuesday was the meal. Then on the weekend, Friday, Mrs. Robishki and Ms. Frizzell have been working hard at their drama play. Their play called $1 Million Meatballs was amazing. I went to the performance on Saturday afternoon. We had 20 of our students involved in either major parts or understudy roles or the stage crew. Those two ladies couldn't have knocked it out of the park any better. It was almost like they knew every one of our students' personalities and picked one play in the world that fit just them. It was cool. And Kathy, I saw you there. I sat behind you. One of the better high school plays that I've seen, and they were really good. So thanks to Marissa Robishki and Rachel Frizzell for their extra work on that. And then, so that was last weekend, Friday, Saturday. And then I did want to share one thing. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Coloma Heavy Machinery Training Center just down the interstate in Coloma, but we sent 12 of our high school students along with Miss Martin to drive one van and Miss Moore to drive the other. And it's a giant pole shed where they train people to operate heavy machinery. Lack of people going into those fields, they offer apprenticeships, training programs. So we sent 12 of our students that are interested in that, and they absolutely had a blast. They learned to drive. Miss Martin, we have pictures of Miss Martin driving a bulldozer. So it was a neat experience for our kids and our 2 chaperones. They loved that too. So again, leading up this time of the year is always busy.
Were they
Go ahead.
Were they high school students?
High school students, yep. Yeah, so high school students, and we took anybody from freshman to senior year that was interested. So if there'll be some pictures coming out on social media too, but if you want to look it up on the internet, it's a pretty cool place. And companies like Bolt Construction and some of those bigger companies, they're hiring people right out of that apprenticeship, right out of high school. And you know, obviously there's a need for that. So, yeah, it's a really a great thing. So, busy, and we have our band and our choir concerts coming up tomorrow and early next week, and then Thanksgiving, and so, thank you.
Thank you.
John, can I give one more shout out real quick?
Yeah.
I know I'm a little out of line here, but you know, it's always good to give shout outs to people. And we have a lady in the audience here too I want to give a shout out to, Mrs. Wilhorn. I know she's interested in what's happening here with the board, but she's also waiting here for a people meeting. Amanda is at all of our people meetings. She is the last teacher here. She's the first teacher here for donuts. She's here till 8:30 when we're sweeping up the gym floor after bingo. Not many people know that. She's our teacher representative and puts in a lot of long hours with people. So thank you very much, Amanda, for the time you put in.
And she waitresses at the cafe when they do a pizza thing.
Yeah, whenever.
Because
Yes.
she's really good at it.
Yeah. But thank you for that.
All right, thank you. Okay, moving on, district administrator report.
For my district administrator report tonight, we do have a guest. I'd like to welcome Tony Menard from CISA 10. Tony has some referendum updates for us.
Yeah, just want to give you guys a brief update. I was in the area today, just walking a contractor through for some of the epoxy flooring that's going to take place next summer. So, was getting that contractor familiar with just the scope of work and what was going to take place here at the elementary school as well as the high school, middle school. Through the last month of October and into November, we did get some other proposals back from contractors on our bidding software for the different projects that we're taking a look at for next summer. Sorry, taking a look at this when I printed it off, I didn't notice the just the formatting issues. So I'll go through this. The numbers you can at least see. But the first one up at the top is for the resilient flooring, so it's more of that sports court type gym flooring for the elementary school here. Because that is going to be getting abated. That number is down there at the in the middle. But had two numbers come back from contractors on that, and Basement Bros was the parent low. We've done projects with them, but they've also done a lot of other school projects throughout the area. They're very reputable, and that number did come in under what we anticipated. So when things come under what we anticipate, whatever we have budgeted goes back into contingency for later on down the road. And I know we had conversations earlier about just some of the other projects and where we were sitting at. So anything that doesn't get used in that contingency can always go towards either paying off some of the bond at the end of the project if you guys feel everything's where you want it, or can be used towards other projects. Once we get to that point. So it's nice that we're able to bank a little bit there with the resilient flooring. The second one is some general contracting work. Altman Construction, they're very close here. They're a general contractor. We had them come in and take a look because the partition wall in the elementary school is going to be coming down because there's not a big use for it. And with the new flooring, there either had to be something done with that. So that partition wall in the gym is going to be coming down and won't be going back up. But so they'll be taking that down. And then at the high school, middle school, the Spanish room is going to be getting a new acoustic ceiling in there, which is a ceiling like this with a grid. It's very high up to the roof deck currently, and there was some roof drains that needed to be replaced this last year in that space. And just with the lack of space in there, it made it very difficult for the contractors to fix whatever they needed up in the ceiling cavity. So we're going to be dropping that ceiling next summer in that space. So
If I may, Tony, that's the old Humpty Dumpty kindergarten room with the fireplace. It is the current Spanish room.
Business, I think.
Former typing room. That should make it more energy efficient as well by lowering the ceiling, I think.
Yep. Won't have as much air volume to be able to heat. And,
Yeah.
So for those two projects for Altman Construction was $19,000. We looked at other projects similar, and that was a very comfortable price. And we did have some other general contractors look at it, but just because of the distance that those contractors were traveling and the small scope of work, I mean, total, Altman's probably going to be around maybe a week tops. So it just wasn't enough scope for a lot of contractors to come in and have a big appetite for it. So Altman, they're local contractors, so they felt comfortable giving us a scope or a price for that work. And then the flooring abatement, So the flooring abatement here is going to be removing the flooring in the elementary school gym, as well as the kitchen, the coach or the gym teacher's office, and then the gym storage. So all that is a VCT floor in there, and it has asbestos-containing materials, whether it's in the VCT itself or in the mastic. So that will be removed after summer school next year, so early July. We had 2 prices on that. That was Hogan Environmental. They're out of West Troy, or Dirty Ducks, which is closer down to Madison. So Hogan was the apparent low there, and we're just doing some venting with them. We have not worked with them in the past, but looked at their website. I asked for some references, so still waiting to see what the references are on school projects, just to make sure that they're a reputable company before we decide to move forward with them. And then the last piece of projects that we got back for next summer were the pocket tables here. So the pocket tables in elementary school, they're beginning to fail and not function as properly for the custodial staff to bring them in and out. So taking a look at that, School Specialties and Innovative, they're both in the Chippewa Valley. The first numbers you see there between the 53 and the 52, there's not a big difference, right? So what those 2 numbers, or the numbers in the 50s, included was the removal of the pockets themselves, so the space that holds the tables into the wall, and replacing those with new tables, where School Specialty gave, we call it like an ad alternate at bidding, where they suggested that if the district or if the pockets themselves are still in functioning condition, then you would just replace the tables. So that's where you get that $20,000 difference in School Specialties numbers there. So those are where we're at right now. I know talking with Jim today, we're going to talk to Frank to see how he feels about the pockets themselves, see if we can use them, or if we, at the time, since we're replacing them, if it makes sense to put new pockets in there for the longevity of just making sure they operate accordingly. We do have 2 more numbers coming back this next week. Like I said, the epoxy flooring for here, which would be in the kitchen, the office, and then the storage, and then at the teacher's workspace, teacher's work office,
Workroom in the high school.
workroom at the high school. That's going to get epoxy as well. And then where we're doing the ceiling tile in the Spanish room at the high school, middle school is going to be getting carpet squares. We're just waiting on those prices to come back. So been a busy month getting those numbers back, but you find that window in October to November is that really sweet spot for school districts to get numbers back, just because contractors are just starting to looking at work for next summer, and we want to make sure that we get in that, get them on the schedule right away before they start getting full, or else the prices start going up as contractors get busy. So and then from there, we're continuing to work with Auth Consulting on just developing the HVAC project that's going to take place in 2026 at both schools. So this next week, they're going to be having consultants come in and do their dimensions of each school, so that they can update the AutoCAD drawings so that they're up to date, and they can work on them just easier. Just all the prints, and especially over at the high school, middle school, in the older area, we don't have any up-to-date drawings, so they have to go through, get all the measurements and everything to be able to facilitate and get construction drawings and everything ready for next fall for bidding. So any questions?
In your bidding procedures, if you bid a particular job.
Yep.
And you get, and it appears that you got like 2 bids for a lot of this. And I mean, is that customary? Do you bid this out to 5, 6, 7 different vendors, or
Yep. And so
just a couple come back?
Yep, and so what we do is we have a public bidding software, and it's called Building Connected. And what that does is we go through and we have a bunch of contractors that we've dealt with previously. So we won't send them a link, but if there's a preferred contractor that the district's worked with in the past, we'll make sure that they get a link to our software where they can download the documents. But then it's out there and it's open, it's public, and a lot of the builders exchanges throughout the state just know that we update that regularly, so then they add that to their Builders Exchange website as well. And then also the districts, on some of them, we pass that along to them, and that gets posted, whether it's in the meeting minutes for, just the board agenda and everything. So there's several ways for contractors to get, the information. And honestly, that's how Hogan Environmental got that information, was that they saw it on the public bidding stuff, and since we haven't worked with them, they reached out to us. And
Essentially, every major
Yeah.
general contractor in the state has these, and Minnesota has these available to view from the Builders Exchange. And they pick and choose what they want to bid.
I find it curious that there were so few bids. I would think this would be guaranteed good.
I mean,
work.
did you have more than just the 2 bids on each of these? I mean, there was potentially more.
No, we had more people look at them, but, you
Nobody
know,
else bid.
no one else, yeah, so,
Typically,
Yeah.
just as a ballpark rule of thumb, you get 3 bids and take the middle one, you know, that kind of philosophy. But if you only have 1 or 2 bids, then it's,
I think it
the
varies.
picking is a little slim.
mhm.
So I'm not in any
You can't
way,
pick the
I'm not in any way inferring that these are,
I think some of it is that these are more specialized too.
Yeah.
These are not-
Less-
I'm not suggesting these aren't reputable companies. I was curious as to how many bids you got and how you went about generating that interest.
Yep.
So,
And I have a feeling too, when we get to the HVAC project, where it's gonna be a higher dollar amount, what we're probably gonna do on that one is have, the mechanical contractor as the prime contractor, cause they're gonna have a bulk of the work. And they'll sub underneath them electrical and plumbing, anything that needs to happen with that, but those will be, you know, $1 million projects where there's a little bit more appetite for those contractors, where they're so, like he was talking about, so specialized. You know, there's only a handful of, you know, pocket table type companies in the state to begin with, so,
I would guess on the bigger one, they'll have close to 10 bids.
yeah,
all right,
so.
I was just curious.
Nope.
Thank you.
It's a good question, so. But, and then as we keep getting more updates, we'll be around, but, like I said, come, February, once we have all the numbers back, we're gonna start getting the schedule organized and making sure all the contractors understand, you know, especially here with the summer school, getting in, you know, abatement, we don't want any students or staff in the building with that large of an abatement, so that's why it's gonna happen after summer school. And then we'll get the resilient flooring contractor in and, get everything buttoned up here before school starts next fall, so definitely on our way to that point, but just wanna come and give you guys an update, so if there's ever any questions, or if anyone has questions, refer them back to Jim, and then I'll get them answered for you, so.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Thank you.
You guys have a good night.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Drive safe.
Appreciate it.
In the same
Yeah,
page.
just gonna say, everything continues to go very well with CISA 10. From the moment they came here and started the referendum process, through the referendum, post-referendum, things are going very well. We're very pleased with our working relationship.
Alright. Next on the agenda, questions and comments from people in attendance. Is there anyone that signed up to speak?
Wait.
The man with the glasses.
Alright, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Number 6, consider approval of minutes of the past meeting.
Moved.
Second,
Motion and a second, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Next item, consider approval of financial reports. Any gifts?
I received an email from Tina Melvin today that the Kiwanis Club donated a large donation of coats, snow pants, and boots to the elementary school today, so,
Just in time.
yes.
With the gifts, is there a motion to approve the financial report?
So, second.
second,
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Leo,
aye.
Carrie, aye. Dana.
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Kathy.
Aye.
Financial reports are approved. Unfinished business, second reading of Neola policy updates.
Motion to approve as presented is requested.
Move. Second.
Nope, go ahead.
Motion by Dana, seconded by Carrie. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. New business. Consider approval of co-curricular positions, Kat Amos, Emily Anderson, and Shane Telton-Pool. For those three positions.
Second?
Motion and a second. Any other discussion?
I'd just like to thank Shane for coming forward since no one else would. You know, and I get it. I mean, teachers are busy and they don't want to take on extra things, but thank you.
With that, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carried. Number 10, consider approval of increase to special education director contract, 0.75 to 1 FTE.
I mentioned in my memo to the board that the number of students with IEPs has approximately tripled over the last 5 years here in the school district. Corresponding to that is the amount of leadership needed, the amount of meetings to attend, the amount of laws to abide, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I've spoken with our CISA special education director, and she completely believes that based on our number of students with IEPs that a 1.0 FTE special education director is warranted. That verifies my thoughts as well as the thoughts of Jody Woltenberg, and that's why I'm bringing this request forward to the board tonight to change and modify that contract.
We're in the,
Right.
well, we have to debate, so I'll move approval of the thing, of the increase,
Second.
A motion and a second.
and then discussion.
Discussion.
Okay. Just trying to exercise my parliamentary rules. Where's the money coming from?
There's no recommended increase in salary or benefits, just a change in her contract language. She was currently 75% teaching a course. She would now just be, her full FTE would be special ed director. The course that she was teaching first trimester, I believe, help me maybe Shane, it's no longer being offered or she no longer has to co-teach it?
It is with Mrs. Schaefer taking over, moving to that new position.
Mrs. Schaefer would take it.
Yes, she was able to take those, that first hour.
Yeah.
So it was essentially
We're increasing a workload without any compensation.
Changing workload.
Change.
Changing.
Changing,
Yes.
but
I did discuss this with Mrs. Waltenberg.
okay,
She was doing something else for a portion of hers that she
Where-
doesn't have to do anymore.
Where are we at with the special ed position that will be vacated? And Mr. Schaefer at some point, have we explored any candidates?
It's completely being addressed, yes, sir. I don't know if I can talk about that under this item though.
Okay,
not-
no, but I just,
Yeah,
you don't have to name
It's not
names, I
on the
was just
agenda.
hoping that we were moving forward with that.
we are,
Okay,
yes.
that's fine.
Right. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Next item, consider approval of 2025-26 course description changes.
move approval.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carried. Next item, consider approval of substitute teacher compensation.
District-wide, we continue to experience a shortage of subs at the elementary, middle school, and the high school. I've done some research, I've had some conversations, and there are some unique things that local districts are doing financially to attract and retain subs that I would like to entertain, and I propose some of those to the board tonight. The things that I'm proposing would be to raise our current sub rate from $130 a day to $140 a day. That keeps us in the ballpark. Some area districts are paying their retired teachers a bit more. I'm proposing that our substitutes who are retired from Port Edward schools would not only receive their daily rate, but $20 additional on top of that, $160 a day. And also some local school districts are giving a bonus for the number of days that are worked, and they have benchmarks for so many days. I'd like to propose that for every 30 full days that a sub-teacher works in our district, they receive a $100 bonus. It's a bit of a carrot to dangle, a bit of an incentive to try to get them to come and work in Port Edward schools. I would like to hear any conversation you have, recommendations, thoughts.
How does this work with teachers on call and?
We would have to work through those logistics.
I've
I don't-
already had Ernestine, we've already done that. It's very simple for right now. Donna truly is our only
Retired.
retired
Teacher.
person right now, and there's a great way to set it up. Ernie already got through to them, and her setup will have that she gets an extra, they can set it up that way. And I think the 30-day piece that I talked with Ernie, that's not gonna be like overwhelming.
No.
You might be
We can
one,
manage that in-house.
that would,
Yeah.
she would just continue, she would just manage on her own.
On a spreadsheet.
But the retiree, they can do that, so that works out perfect.
There's a certification requirement for subs.
Yes,
correct?
yes.
What is that certification requirement?
It has been, the threshold is lowered through the years. It's now an associate's degree with training that you have to get to be a sub-teacher. So it's an associate's.
Okay, I understand that, but what is the training? I mean, how extensive is the training?
Not
1
very.
day, 8-hour training
Secret.
season.
And the cost associated with it?
Anyone who has said they would want to do it here, we would compensate them for it. $200, $150.
So we already have that in place, so
Yes.
if anybody wants to become a substitute teacher,
We take care of
we'll
that.
pay for it.
Yes, yes.
And have we made that publicly known?
I don't know that we have advertised it recently. I think we did maybe my first year. I don't know about recently. I do want to advertise whatever we do tonight. If we do take any action to increase compensation, I want to advertise it and get it out there.
What is the overall impact of the $10 increase per day as far as budgetary?
I did not calculate that. We had conversation, and my question to business was, is this going to significantly impact our fund balance? And Lisa told me we certainly could afford that. We would have room to do so, but I do not have a dollar amount for it right now. I do know, if I may, we are currently paying $130 a day. There are neighboring districts that pay $160, $170, $180 within 100 miles of us. And we do know that there are substitute teachers that drive right past Port Edwards to go to other districts because of additional compensation.
That was why I was asking, because if it's not a major impact, is 140 really doing anything except lip service?
It's a step in the right direction.
It will also impact our daily in-school sub rate too, just a little bit. That'll change as well, so that'll increase that as well.
So it would also impact the in-house staff that cover.
And in the
Heavens knows they can use that.
duck pay that goes up quite
I agree with you, Dana.
Yeah.
I would suggest that if we're looking at that much, if we're that much behind the curve compared to Pittsville, Nakusa, Rapids, Plainfield, whatever, I mean,
150.
it's stressful
That's
for
fine.
our staff.
It is.
It's stressful for our staff to have to constantly give up prep periods to cover their colleagues' absences. It leads to additional stress and sometimes disharmony amongst colleagues, which isn't good.
Right.
If there are subs that are going elsewhere because they're paid better and they come from the Point Rapids area and drive right past us to go to other places, I'd have no problem with bumping it to 150 or 160 straight. I mean, we do, having a quality stable of competent subs that service our needs and maintain continuity in our curriculum is a linchpin of making the district work.
Agreed.
And looking at the sub lists every month with people being sick, people being gone, people coaching, people at IEPs, one of the corollaries of having all of these additional kids with IEPs is that they have to have parental hearings, and somebody from the academic staff has to be represented. I think they still have to have a faculty rep at an IEP meeting, don't they?
Faculty and administration.
Faculty and administration, so then, you know, not only are you and Shane being taken away, but
A teacher.
a teacher is
Classroom
pulled out of their classroom.
Right.
I mean, okay, so we dip into the fund balance a little bit, pay them.
Well, it sends a message to not just the subs, but to our own staff who has to fill in, that we respect their time and take the stress out of the situation. I guess I move to approve, but with the amended rate of 150 or
The current rate is 130.
Would we also up the retired pay then if we're upping the?
Well, it would be 20 over the,
yeah,
whatever.
still the
the
21.
rate is.
20 over whatever we decide on for the regular sub rate.
150 and 170.
Go
Or
155, then go 155.
All right, 155. I've heard
No.
160, I've heard 150, so we'll go 155.
I'll second it. Is that a motion?
It was.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll second
Amended
it.
So 155, $20 extra, and a $100 bonus per 30 days.
Yeah.
Well, technically, well, I guess it wouldn't matter that much. I was gonna say we have to have the motion, then file or move to amend.
Yeah.
Technically, we should do it that way, because the motion brought to us was at 150. Or I mean at 140.
Was it seconded?
No, it was just brought by him. It wasn't actually a vote.
It was a recommendation.
Recommendation.
Okay, all right, that's what I'm, all right, yeah,
Otherwise, make
155.
a new motion to approve and gather that all up.
I moved to amend, or to increase the rate to 155, so, and
Yeah.
that was seconded already, so.
Yeah.
Should be fine,
Okay.
With the bonus.
With
30
the
days.
yeah,
bonus,
with
yeah.
the bonus.
Any other discussion then on that motion? Everybody know the motion? Yep. All right. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Okay, motion carried.
I think we're fortunate that we have a good staff and we wanna keep them,
Absolutely.
so. And I think too, when we do have subs come here, they find out that it's a pretty good school to sub at, which not every school is, so I think that makes a difference too.
I've never heard a sub here say it's worse here than any other school. The comment I get repeatedly is your school is the best school to sub in, or over either building. It's behaviorally. It's we love subbing, and maybe the additional compensation will draw more people in.
At least now that my three are out.
No. Bad,
All
bad,
right,
bad, bad,
moving
bad.
on
Don't
to
tweet.
number 13, discussion on grade levels for 2025-2026.
This specific topic has to do with the concept of moving our fifth grade back to the John Edwards Middle School. This idea has been proposed for a couple of years. Proposed might not be the right word. Thrown
Discussed,
around.
yeah.
It's been discussed. This year we brought in our 4K and the daycare into the elementary building, and it's made much more of an immediate need to have this conversation of moving the fifth grade over, because we do have somewhat of a shortage of classroom space. We are packed in here much tighter. I've discussed this topic, now I'm in my third year as an administrator. I've talked with various staff members at both buildings. Not one person has spoken against it in all of my conversations with either leadership or teaching staff, support staff, anyone. They think it'd be a pretty good idea. 2 hours ago, I had my November staff meeting right here, and we had a listening session that was on the agenda. There were about 8 staff members who chose to speak up. All 8 spoke very favorably about the idea. There were none who spoke against it. I explicitly asked, does anyone think this is a bad idea to move our fifth grade over next year? No one thought it was a bad idea. Some of the reasons our teachers gave, again, this was a listening session. Physical space was probably number one. 1 and 1A was educationally. It will allow us at our lower levels here to split our sections in two. We can have more space for them. Smaller class sizes means better learning in almost every scenario. That's at our lower level. At our upper level, the 5th grade, it was commented a couple of times that behaviorally they seem to fit better in the middle school. They reach kind of an age here. They're 11 years old. They're starting to get a little bit older. Out on the playground with 6 and 7 years old, that doesn't mesh well always. It's a better fit with 6th graders, 7th graders, etc.
That's 11-year-olds approximately.
10 and 11.
10 and 11?
10 and 11.
Okay.
We know there's many moving pieces to this. Okay.
Yeah.
We know there's scheduling, there's staffing, there's extracurriculars, there's many, many moving pieces which need to be worked out. At this time, I would just like to hear the board's input. What are your thoughts? What are your feelings? I think we are prepared in the central office to start working on this plan. I've heard it from our staff here. I would like to hear our board's input about this idea.
The grossest thing that I know of is an 11-year-old boy, followed only by an 11-year-old girl. They're at the point physically where they start having body odor, they start noticing the opposite sex, but they lack any of the maturity necessary to handle it.
Correct.
So being around more mature children may be advantageous.
A similar comment in the same vein was brought up in my staff meeting today. They're around older peers who know how to carry themselves, and they kind of that's role modeled for them. Yeah.
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 There's a logistics to going from being the oldest kids to being the youngest kids. I used to tell my 8th graders at the end of the school year, okay, now you're gonna go to the high school next year as freshmen, and you better cool your jets, because if you don't, really, really bad things could happen to you. So just kind of accept that you're going from king on the hill to the low bottom of the pile, and you'll have to work your way up again, and such is the progression of life. That's how things happen.
Yeah.
So,
And maybe some of the
yeah,
behavioral issues too
there's
that
often
you might
somebody
see
never paid
here
attention
in
to
the
that.
5th grade.
It didn't
Might.
go
I
well.
would think so.
Do a little better when they have people to look up to
I would think so.
over there.
What do the parents of the 5th graders next year think of this?
Has not been brought up yet. Or kind of this is a step we're at in this
Okay.
process. I want to
We've
hear
been
from
back and forth so many times on 5th grade where it's been,
How long has it been since this last shift from there to here
Yeah,
took place?
5 years.
Does anybody
5
remember?
years.
yeah,
I'm gonna say 5
maybe
years.
5.
It's been shared with me that was in part due to some administrative staffing at that time and
Right.
who was covering which grades and
Right,
yeah,
there were other factors when it was done last,
right.
and it didn't go real well at first, if I remember right.
Well, some of it was,
however-
really was kind of brought around in a
However we
backwards
choose
way,
to do
so
this,
It wasn't
let-
forced.
let's make sure it's really transparent, let's make sure that everybody has a
Right.
say.
All the players are at the table.
Everybody's at the table,
Yep,
parents
absolutely.
especially,
Yes.
you know, they,
And I mean, forever, 5th grade was over there
Yes.
for the longest time.
Right.
And it worked well.
So, and it worked well. I
Yes.
mean, our kids all went through that,
Yep.
and they seem to survive just fine.
I went
I taught that way.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
there 5, 6, and 7, 8.
right.
When it comes
So-
up for a vote, I will be in favor.
Yep, me too.
So you wanted a green light to explore it?
That, I would say so, yes.
Okay, I think the light's green.
I would say so.
Right.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
so we are gonna start
Good idea.
developing details and I will bring something forward to the board. Absolutely.
Because hopefully, we're gonna be back to 2 kindergarten sections.
That would allow
Maybe
that.
2 first grades. I mean, that's what our whole goal is, and with daycare and 4-year-old kindergarten here, we need space.
Well, I mean, that will also play into the long-term decision about what we do with the supposedly temporary facility we have now.
That
Is that-
certainly would,
Is that going to be permanent?
it would free up
if
more
so,
space then.
okay,
Yeah.
then what else happens?
Right. Absolutely.
So,
Okay, thank you. We will move forward with some planning. Absolutely.
All right. Next, opportunity for individual board member comments. We'll start with Leo this time.
I'd like to take a moment tonight to remember and recognize a former colleague of mine in our driving business and a longtime Port Edward staff member, Rick Cook, who died on Sunday in Wausau of renal and liver failure after a long struggle. Rick taught sixth grade science here for most of his career, if I remember right. I messaged all my kids about Rick's passing, and they all came back with spontaneous positive comments. Gee, we raised a lot of little mice in that classroom, among other stories. Rick was a WIA official. He coached. Just a genuine good guy, and I'm genuinely sad beyond words to hear of his passing. He taught driver's ed with us from 2005 until this summer when he finally had to stop. I just think when somebody contributes what Rick contributed to the community and to the school district for the number of years he did, he deserves a hearty hi-ho silver and a pat on the back as he leaves us. So, good job. Well done.
Rick was a great mentor to me when I started teaching here in 2003. He was right across the hall. And great mentor to a young teacher.
I don't think funeral arrangements are intact yet. His sister-in-law is in Europe. I don't know if permanently or vacationing or whatever. Ellen's sister is still trying to get back. So I'm not exactly sure when arrangements for service or funeral will be announced, but I hope that the district will be represented when that takes place.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
Okay.
1/3 through almost already,
Yeah.
and it's almost Thanksgiving, and it's getting cold. Winter sports are starting, kids are here, it's all good, it's going fast, bundle up, it's getting cold.
No.
That's it.
Well, I've just noticed that since the stores, television networks, and everybody is trying to start Christmas in October, and I'm gonna try and do something different this year, which is I'm going to use Thanksgiving as the appetizer for Christmas. And I am going to encourage other people to do the same. So start with Thanksgiving and spend the entire month between the holidays expressing joy and gratitude and appreciation and love for your fellow man and neighbor. And I know, I mean, it's only 1/12 of the year, but I think we try to pack it in the last few days around Christmas as we knock people over trying to get the last toy on the shelf. And maybe if we have that kind of attitude for an entire month, it'll spill over into the other months. So just my thoughts on it.
Just a little kinder, a little bit more of the time. Good job.
Kathy.
Go ahead, John.
Oh.
I'll be last.
Okay, you gotta be like, I don't have much, I attended Donuts for Grown-ups, and so a big thank you to everyone associated with that. It's a good outing for the school. And I also had Rick Cook for a teacher and assistant coach in football. and he was always a good guy, fun guy, and sad to hear that he passed.
I would just like to say that I'm so pleased with the community sponsorship that we have going with the Lions Club. Having that bingo night here and having that many people show up, I think is wonderful. And I think the more of those things we do, and Shane talking about the tournament that's gonna be here, I think getting more people into the school for more things is what sells our district. And the one gal that's been coming to story time, she's leaving now because they're going back to California to finish things up there, but she lives in Rapids and she's got a little girl that would be coming to kindergarten next year and she wants to bring her here. And I think, you know, just them coming and seeing the school, and she's very impressed.
Kathy introduced me to her a couple of weeks ago.
Mhm.
Yeah, wonderful family.
Yeah, took her on a tour of the school and she was just like, wow, this is really special. So I think that's getting people in the building so they can see, and people that were in the building in the 70s when it was new and they come in now, you know, and they see that it's still beautiful, it's still wonderful, and I think we need to do more of those things.
Absolutely, as much as we can.
And I'm so pleased that Young Authors has come back to the elementary school. That was a program that just was dear to my heart, and I think it's so good for children to have the opportunity to get up in front of a group of people, stand at a microphone and speak, and it's a good life skill, will help them forever.
December 5th, if anyone wants to
The
come, our
next
next
one?
Young
Okay.
Authors,
I
December
wondered when it
5th.
was gonna be, okay,
Thursday.
so.
Yes, Thursday, December 5th.
Lots of good things going on in this district all the time, and I am very pleased with our staff, all people from custodians to kitchen staff to paraprofessionals and teaching staff. We have great people and great administration.
They make the district great.
Yep.
Everyone around here.
All right, with that, let's take a motion to adjourn into closed session.
So moved.
Second,
Motion in a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Paul, isn't it
Paul,
to
roll
the
call.
closed session?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Roll call to go to.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Roll
yes.
call.
Leo.
Aye.
Carrie, aye. Dana.
Aye.
John.
Aye.
Kathy.
Aye.
Okay, closed session.
You going or staying or what are we doing?
We can go into Mrs. Zitz's, I think. Are you ladies kicking off or staying around? It's closed session. It's closed session.